Welcome to the Second Bite Podcast, where we talk with top entrepreneurs and CEOs about creating valuable companies through creative transactions. Now, let's get started with the show.
Welcome back to the Second Bite Podcast. I have an interesting guest with me today. This is part of our CEO support series. With me today is a longtime friend and business colleague, Ken Fahmy from Fahmy & Associates. Ken, super happy to have you with me today.
Thank you, Todd, for allowing me to join you.
Yeah, we got a bit to unpack today because we have helped clients together for years, I think in similar ways yet different. So we help clients maximize the value of their business when it is time to do a transaction, oftentimes a second bite transaction. You work with clients throughout their business journey, using the business to maximize the value while they're accumulating value throughout their existence until they're ready for a transaction. So that would be my definition. If you will, tell me just a little bit about the background. Tell me about Fahmy Associates, what you do, and who it is that you serve.
Yeah, thank you, Todd. So personally myself, I've been assisting individuals, families, and small business owners to achieve financial security since 1985. And so what we do is a lot of it on the surface doesn't have a lot of sizzle to it, but we help with developing employee benefit plans for small business owners, medium-sized businesses. And then we also, more importantly, look at a financial picture of a business owner and try to help them not only protect their family and their business, but to create wealth in a tax-efficient manner. And so a lot of business owners, basically, they are their business. As I always say, the motto is you are your business is you. You live it, you breathe it, and oftentimes to the advantage of potentially coming to an end, like an exit with you, but along the way, it's a journey. So,
I want to pick up on the tax efficient manner because that's top of mind for a lot of folks. So when we go through a P&L with somebody, they are using their business to help them with things. It'll pay for the car. It might pay for sports tickets. It'll pay for travel. It'll do those type of things as a way of deducting expenses, if you will. But I don't see a lot of use of benefits, if that's the right descriptor, on a tax efficient manner. And I think there's just a general ignorance around what those opportunities are. Do you see that a lot as well?
Well, yeah. So, obviously, if a small business owner wants to take care of themselves and their families, and they want to be able to provide for various different aspects of risk management, like medical insurance, some disability insurance, and various different insurance programs to include, qualified retirement plans, there's tax efficiency in that. So it's for their benefit and it's for the benefit of their employees. So regardless of where they're at, by the way, in terms of the stage of the business, it could be in their infancy stage. A lot of times I have small business owners who come to me, they're starting a business. They're leaving wherever they were employed and, they're going out and they're putting all their eggs in one basket and they're going deep. But so they need to have structured benefits, and that can be done in a tax efficient manner.
So I know that I can deduct my health insurance, right? Because that's an expense of the business. Are there other things that the business can do that are deductible? And are there specific things that I can do just for me that are also deductible?
Certainly there are. But, I always say you don't let the tax tail wag the dog. So, but you want to be able to make sure that if you're looking for tax efficiency, there has to be an objective. So I'll give you a couple examples of objectives. Of an objective is oftentimes if you have a business, and regardless of whether you're self-employed or if you've got a business partner, you want to be able to have a risk management plan in place that basically dictates what happens in the event that the business owner should die, become disabled, or for that matter, if just your business partner decides to leave. Certainly a business owner oftentimes doesn't want to be in business with a spouse of a deceased partner. But yeah, there are ways that you can fund agreements that will help out in those type of situations, and basically, put money away in a tax efficient manner. Also, another thing too is for a lot of professionals, doctors and such, they've got a substantial amount of overhead that the business is relying on them to be able to produce to cover that overhead. There's an insurance plan called business overhead expense. It's tax deductible. It protects you, it protects your family, it protects the business in the event that you can't operate. Also, long-term care, in terms of, our ages, I should say, these days, long-term care planning is at the top of people's mind, dealing with parents and such that go into facilities costing, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in some circumstances to pay for their long-term care. Well, a business owner can actually provide for risk management through insurance and deduct that premium for themselves, spouse, and for also key employees. And I'll throw another one out there too. It's something I've been doing a lot of these days. It's called a 162 bonus. And it's an arrangement whereby maybe you have a key employee and you want to do something special for them and to honor them and let them know that, they're a key part of your business. And you maybe don't necessarily want to give them stock in the business, but you can actually put money away for them that is tax deductible and potentially have some strings attached, which maybe is not the best way to word it. It's a form of golden handcuffs because there's a vesting schedule on that. And so it helps to have the employee realize that, you're putting money away for their future. And basically they're working towards staying with you so that at the end, they have a pot of gold that is theirs, and they will oftentimes deserve it.
Yeah, so let me drill into that a little bit, because one thing I think that I understand is that if I provide a benefit, I have to provide it to the entire company. Is that true?
Well, in many different qualified plans, that is absolutely true. You cannot discriminate. But the programs that I just mentioned are non-qualified, and you can actually choose and select the people you would like to have in these particular programs. So yes, they're oftentimes used above and beyond qualified plans. For instance, the employee maybe has maximized the contributions to their 401k. There's not much left for them to do. And for that matter, too, for the business owner, most business owners have maximized contributions to qualified plans. They're looking for ways to get money out of their business in a tax efficient manner. And oftentimes it may not be fully tax deductible up front, but if you can create an investment program whereby maybe you're not taking a tax deduction today, but all the money grows within the plan that will come to be able to be used in the future, income tax free, similar to a Roth IRA or a 529 plan for education funding, it's a great deal.
And I can do that through the company?
You can use funds through the company. So I have a lot of business owners who take a distribution for part of their money and fund a non-qualified plan for themselves and or, the different objectives I just mentioned.
So, because, one thing that almost all of my clients worry about is, there's always 2 or 3 or 5 key people to a business that they don't want to lose. In their mind, it's interesting because we've got a couple deals working towards close now. And in both cases, it's one owner, and they're going to bonus out some people at transaction time.
Right.
But there's probably something they could have done along the way. So I say that because these are obviously important people to them that they want to reward. But I guess you could say they've been at risk of going somewhere else for a long period of time. And it seems like the only 2 options most guys have is I'll just pay him more money to stay, or I've got to create some equity plan or a phantom equity plan, and that becomes a little bit intimidating in the rest. It sounds like this 162 plan is kind of a nice middle ground. Is that a fair description?
It's simple. It's very simple. So, for instance, I have a gentleman who's a very good friend of mine. He owns 11 automotive shops. I've been with him, helping him to manage that business along the way. He has one key individual who came in years ago who now runs all 11 shops. He can't afford to lose that person. he doesn't necessarily want to provide equity to him in the business. So we created a 162 bonus plan where he puts money into that plan every year. And then there's a vesting schedule. At the end of 10 years, that bucket of money is his. He deducts that. And on top of that, he has insurance on the gentleman in the event that should he die and or become disabled and not able to operate and run the business for him as he does, there's a big payout to the business owner to protect that the value of what that gentleman does.
And I think you were explaining to me that business owner then can pay the guy's salary for a year or two to his wife and then still keep money to replace this guy or the lost business from losing an employee.
Well, yeah, he can do that. And you got to remember, that key employee also has, disability income insurance for his family because we put a benefit plan in place to protect all employees should one of them become disabled. But this is more so to protect the business owner if that individual goes out. So yeah, there are numerous different things we can do, but my process that I've developed over the years as a certified financial planner. Well, first of all, let me just say, I've come to find that a lot of business owners are somewhat impatient, meaning they don't necessarily want to take the time to drill down on a lot of these matters. So we've come up with a simplified process, and I call it first and foremost a financial vulnerability assessment. What I've learned how to do in sitting down with a business owner is gather some facts. And those facts pertaining to the individual finances of the business owner and as well as the business all come together in a simple manner. And as we go through a questionnaire, it helps to uncover vulnerabilities. And so I'll give you an example. Vulnerabilities are not having proper legal documents, estate planning documents in place. Most people hopefully have wills, trusts, powers of attorney. Is there a succession plan, a buy-sell agreement that dictates what happens to that business in the event that things should go awry, death, disability, or the partnership? Those plans.
What if I own it? Like I mentioned, these last two deals are they're single owner. And so if that single owner dies, what happens to the business then?
Well, it depends what they have addressed, whether or not they put a plan together for it. So if it's an attorney who basically, they eat what they kill and there's really no value, right?
Of course,
but if you have
these are guys that have
value,
a management team and
if it's a big business like that, if you don't have a properly defined plan that is funded, meaning the money's there to potentially allow that plan to work, they're scrambling to figure out what to do at the last minute. And oftentimes,
if I think about it, sorry to interrupt, but if I think about it, in one case, my guy's married. I don't know if he's got a will or trust or any of that stuff because I didn't ask. But if he doesn't, I guess his wife now owns a business, right?
Well, that's true. And generally, the wife doesn't want to be in business with that individual's his former partner. And nor does that partner want to be in business with the wife. And
if I'm a key employee there and the boss leaves, I think this thing is going downhill pretty quickly. I'm going to go find something else probably.
Yeah. So that's why you have an agreement that basically stipulates what happens in that circumstance, whether or not you have a key person who steps up and takes the business, whether or not that business all transitions to the survivor business owner in an efficient manner. As I said, the spouse of the deceased, if it's, in the event of death, they don't want to operate in that business. They'd rather have a big fat check that comes out. And if you set it up front, if you get it, in place at the get-go, you're doing yourself and your family a service.
And over the years, just one quick comment. Over the years, I know you've told me where you've set this up for people that if it all goes like we all expect it will, where I build a business, I sell it, I exit and everything else, I've kind of got this pot of deferred money that I can access on a tax deferred or a tax preferred basis. Is that right?
Yeah, that is one of the programs we can put in place, not only for that key individual, but also for the business owner. For the business owner, it's not tax deductible up front, but you can create a bucket of money that's all income tax free when they want to start to take income out of it, and or should they die, it passes to their family, their estate, their trust, however you want to say it, income tax free. So, on that note, I will tell you that it's never too early to think about potentially exiting your business. Everybody exits their business one way or another. And obviously, if you're coming in and you're in the infancy stage, you're scrambling just to stay alive. You're trying to minimize costs and taxes. Common denominator is majority of the people out there are looking to always minimize taxes. So, we come up with strategies on that. But regardless, from the standpoint of looking to your business and protecting it, as it may be one of the largest assets that you have. Here, you protect other things, but you forget that business is the goose that lays the golden egg. And so we help people to realize that. We put it into perspective in a holistic fashion, looking at their overall finances. And from that, I just need to also mention, we work closely with clients' financial advisors, their attorneys, their accountants. And oftentimes the plans that we're suggesting they look into maybe haven't been recommended before.
Well, I will say, Kenny, because I've gotten a couple of people that I referred to in the past, and their number one feedback to me was, I never knew you could do some of this stuff. And these are guys that have been in business for, a couple of decades and have lawyers and advisors and the rest. Why is this like this 162 thing and some of the others? Why is that not more widely known?
I think maybe the objective of what some of those advisors are trying to achieve for the clients are more, I hate to say it this way, run of the mill. They're managing their assets, and they're basically looking to make sure that they're getting a good internal rate of return on investment, or they're trying to manage their taxes just to get the income tax completed. But they're not necessarily looking to strategies that can enhance and work outside of the box, if I may. So when we think to some of these programs, as I said, there always has to be an objective tied to them. Like, what are you trying to achieve? And from there are ways to potentially do it in a very efficient manner that some of the other advisors aren't accustomed to looking at. It's just not what they do.
Yeah. It feels like the return on investment, the return on time spent looking at this is got to be quite good. But it also kind of falls under, just like when you were talking about, documents and wills and trust. I think the initial reaction to most entrepreneurs is that their eyes gloss over, and then it's something that never catches on fire that I have to deal with, and I've got other fires. Do you have a hard time making this important to guys?
No, actually, it sticks out like a sore thumb. So generally, when I have a conversation with a small business owner, I go through my questionnaire, and they tell me what is of importance to them, but I address the issues. Do you have these documents in place? And yes, many of them may have basic documents, but they don't have it for their business.
Yeah.
Or what are you doing in terms of maximizing, utilizing your company to be able to provide for wealth accumulation and risk management for your family? When I say risk management, like paying for long-term care insurance, let's protect the harvest, protect the assets you've built. They just don't address, a lot of accountants and or financial advisors aren't addressing those things. So, but we tee it all up. We let the clients tell us after we speak with them what it is that they want to achieve. We go back, we provide them with some recommendations as to how they can go about it. They take that to their accountants and their financial advisors or their legal team, and they cross the T's, dot the I's, and we work as a team, all advisors. It's an approach that's in the best interest of the clients. You have multiple eyes looking at it. And as you said, oftentimes it's like, why wasn't this ever presented to me before?
Yeah. So I will say this, Kenny, to wrap us up here. I think everybody creates a company or a business to benefit them and the people that they love and care about. And hopefully it winds up in a transaction, which is where we get to help them. But along the way, the ability to use the company and use it effectively is really a tremendous tool. And that's why we have this series on our podcast called the CEO Support Series, so that people can get a little bit of exposure to other areas that are not immediately tied to a transaction that I think are helpful and valuable. And so I'm glad that you were able to join us and just comment on some of those things. For people that want to track you down, it's all of your contact information and Fahmy and Associates and the website are all available on the show notes if you go to secondbitepodcast.com. But for those listening, what's the best way to get in touch with you or to learn more?
Well, probably the best way to learn more is as you said, go to my website.
And what's that?
It's Fahmy and Associates, Fahmy and Associates, Inc. And, I serve people across the country, primarily in the DC metropolitan area. Or they can call my office, 703-760-4630. Or they can come to you and they can ask you, how do I get a hold of that person that was on there? So
that's very true. And they can also track you down on LinkedIn. Ken Fahmy.
Absolutely, yeah, sure. They can track me down on LinkedIn. I welcome the opportunity to speak to anybody. One of the most gratifying things I've come to find in my career is just talking to small business owners. Every business owner is an individual. They have a story to tell. They have a family they love, and they're just trying to do the best for themselves and their families. So at this time, I think we should all be just grateful to be, if you own a business, you should be grateful to own a business in the United States of America. It's one of the best things you could possibly ever have in terms of trying to accumulate wealth. So Todd, thanks for having me on the show.
Kenny, it was great having you on the show. Thank you for joining, and thank you for joining.
Thank you for your friendship, and happy Thanksgiving to you. Thanks for listening to the Second Bite Podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.